Everton 0, Manchester City 3, and that was a complete whitewash for Man City, man. Any hope I had for this title, maybe coming to N5, has been destroyed here today because Everton put up no fight. No fight whatsoever. The first 25 minutes, they were here and there, but look, let's be completely honest about it. As soon as Man City got their motor whirring, there was only going to be one winner. Everton completely took to the cleaners, bro. I think Man City, I look at their squad and De Bruyne is missing today. Stones is missing today. Those are two key members. Yeah, they look exactly the same. I don't get it. Like, how are they missing two of their key players? Yet they look better. It puzzles me. I feel like if Arsenal miss Partey at times, yeah, Jorginho will come in. But if you miss Partey, Saliba and Jesus, or Partey, Saliba and Saka, Arsenal become a completely different team. Whereas with Man City, their squad depth is so good and players stay ready at all times. This could have been a potential banana peel game. I always do look at Goodison as a tough place to go. But they dealt with this one very easily, Man City. Very, very easily. I think if you're Arsenal now, win later today, does it really change us win the title? I don't think so, to be honest, man. I think it's going to Man City now. This was one of the games where, genuinely, out of all the games left, this was the one I had most confidence in Man City dropping points. The fact it's wedged in between the Real Madrid games as well. But they came in like a business trip and took care of business really easily, man. So if I'm Arsenal, we still got to try our best later today. And I still want us to win that game in case anything happens. You never know in football, the impossible can happen. But if Man City would have looked at this game and gone, yeah, the title was won after this one. This was their last real tough test. I know they've still got to play Brentford. I know they've still got to play Brighton, but they can draw both those games and still win the Premier League. That's how much of a gap they've got now. If you're Arsenal, you try your best, but it's tough now. It's going to be very, very tough to keep up. In terms of the game itself, though, first 25 minutes, Everton stood up and were counted, man. It looked like Man City playing that game in midweek maybe hindered them a little bit because they started the game slower. Everton really pushing the pace early and really giving their crowd something to shout about. But as soon as Man City got that first goal, Everton's waters burst, man. Couldn't really get back into the game whatsoever. Big goal as well from Gundogan, man. You talk about big players standing up in these big moments. That was exactly Gundogan. What a goal. Ball comes in the box, controls it. First of all, how he's allowed to control the ball in his own box is beyond me. Like, you got to have an extra body on that player. Then he's able to turn and thrust it into the bottom corner as well, past Jordan Pickford. It's a brilliant finish, genuinely superb finish with Gundogan as well. And it's a big goal because when you play teams like Everton, when you play teams towards the bottom of the table that are fighting and scrapping for their lives, your first goal counts like two because those teams are literally going to shore up defensively and ensure that their first port of call is defend rather than attack. And if they were able to score, then Everton, suddenly that took plan A out the window. You know what Sean Dyche is going to do? Always have his team set up defensively first, and then anything on the attack is kind of like a bonus. As soon as they got that first goal, they fell apart, man. Suddenly you saw Haaland get a goal. Gundogan got a third with a brilliant free kick, and it was actually wrote, to be honest. But that first goal was so big, and Gundogan's been a massive player for Man City over these years. He looks like he's going to leave at the end of the season. And look, he's been a brilliant servant to the club. One of Pep Guardiola's first signing, if not his first signing, I believe, from Borussia Dortmund. Brilliant player, man. It was only 2 seasons ago when he was their top goal scorer. Like, this man has been such an underrated piece of Pep Guardiola's Man City puzzle. And he scored 2 massive goals again today. And look, if they win the league at the end of the season, which is what it's looking like, he can sit there and pat himself on the back because he's put in a brilliant shift. And Haaland as well, man. Inevitable, the robot. He scores again today. This one, I don't know what Pickford's doing, to be honest. I feel like he needs to do better too. He's diving away from the ball. Like, the ball's in the center of the box. Like, he doesn't need to dive so early. He dives prematurely. He's second guessing where Haaland's going to head it. Look, it's a free header in the box. You'd expect Haaland to score it, but I think the goalkeeper should do better in that one. But look, it's one of those things. The first 30 minutes when Everton were having their joy, Calvert-Lewin should have done better on a couple of chances. Doucouré as well, potentially. But if you don't take your chance against Man City, they're going to find a way to win that football match, man. Like, over a 90-minute period, there's regression to the mean with them. They're the better team. They're going to find a way to win. Tommy, I appreciate you on the stream as always. I thought Everton get something today. Easy match in the end. Second half was boring. Exactly, man. This is the thing with Man City, right? So many things have to go right to beat that team. You have to ride your luck. You have to take your chances. You have to defend so well. There's so many variables in that football match that have to go your way to win it. And in the start of the match, Everton were doing exactly that. They were pressing well. They were retrieving the ball well. I saw what he was doing in the formation, Sean Dyche, playing that 5 across the midfield, 5 just workhorses, man. Iwobi and Dwight McNeil on the wings as well. Up and down all day long. It was working. They were the first one to the 50-50s. They were pouncing on loose balls. I was sitting there going, hang on a minute, Everton could have something here. But as soon as Man City scored that first goal, they had nothing, man. Plan A out the window. It was on to plan B, and plan B didn't exist with Sean Dyche. That's how he sets up his teams. It's a problem because when you're manager like Sean Dyche, right, you only really set up your teams to defend well. As soon as you can see that first goal, you lose all composure. What you should have done is, if you concede that first goal, so be it. They were playing well. Just stick to it. Stick to the same plan. You might have got something on the counter-attack. Or at least keep it 1-0 and keep it tight. Because, look, 1-0 with after 70 minutes, it's still a close game. You can nick something towards the end. But as soon as we went 1-0, Everton started chasing. Suddenly went 2-0. Then they went to chase the game even more. And then at 3-0, it was fully game over at that point. So they should have stayed in the game, really, but they didn't. And Man City are brilliant at controlling football matches as well, right? Like, at 2-0, I sat there and I said, look, if Everton get 1 goal back, it could all change round. But at 3-0, it's game over, man. Man City just pass. And they psychologically drain you as well if they're passing, man. Because it's one thing just creating chances and scoring, but sometimes just keeping the ball left to right for 5 minutes, 6 minutes in a row. Your opposition just don't touch the ball for extended periods of time, for 50 passes or so. It can be emotionally draining, man. And when you do collect the ball again, then lose it instantly because you get impressed. It could be really hard on the team. And I think that was Everton today. Look, Everton got a massive win against Brighton. And to be honest, I think if you told the Everton fans, look, your next 2 games are Brighton away and City at home. If you're going to get 3 points on those next 2 games, will you take it? Every Everton fan on planet Earth would have taken that. They've got that. And I think as an Arsenal fan, I would have preferred if they lost to Brighton, to be honest. I think that means that this would have been a must-win. The fact that they beat Brighton and beat them in convincing fashion, a lot of Arsenal fans are saying, oh, that's the confidence they need to bounce back. For me, I don't think it works like that. I think they all these teams towards the bottom of the table are void of all confidence anyway. They need to pick up points. And for Everton, they're a team that stayed in the Premier League season in, season out, because when it comes to crunch time, they kick in. They just do. So I think it would have actually been better if they lost against Brighton from an Arsenal fans' perspective. Because that literally meant this game would have been a must-win. Like, you can't even draw this match if they lost to Brighton. They beat Brighton, so it gave them a cushion now. They've utilised this cushion against Man City, as many would expect, because that is one of the toughest games you can get in the Premier League. It's one of those things, man. How do you think Arsenal react? They must be deflated. Forest are picking up points lately. This is the thing, right? It's a tough game now for Arsenal against Brighton, because we all would have watched this game. All the Arsenal players would have, all the coaches would have. A lot of people identified Everton away as a potential banana peel for Man City. A lot of people identified it, myself included. The fact they've steamrolled this game, and the fact for the first 20 minutes it could have been a different contest. Now the Arsenal players are going to the Brighton game knowing the title's basically over anyway. They shouldn't think like that, but football's a very fickle game, man. Like, it can cause us, the littlest thing can have a chain butterfly reaction, and suddenly the players, their heads are gone. Who knows, man? Who knows? For me, the Arsenal game, regardless, I'm still going to be tuning into it. Of course, I do with every game. Still wanting the boys to win. But a little part of me would be hurt, because I know that this game between Man City and Everton, today was a 6-pointer for Arsenal. It was. Like, in an alternate universe, this would have been a 6-point swing, where Man City lose and Arsenal win, and suddenly the title's all up for grabs. Now it could go the other way. And look, if Arsenal lose today and Man City beat Chelsea, the title is over. The title is literally over. So if you're Arsenal, you've got to try and win this game to keep the pressure on. Because look, I know today would have been a tough game for Man City, but they've still got Brighton away. They've still got Brentford away. 2 very tough games on paper, so anything can happen in football. But if you're looking, you say, they're past this test. It's another tick on the checklist for Pep Guardiola's Man City, who are storming towards a treble, man. And it's crazy to think that for the majority of the season, they've been experimenting. Like, when they played the first, let's say, until February time, this Man City squad it's a good squad, but they weren't playing to their potential. You're seeing Rico Lewis come in the team, not doing the business. Kevin De Bruyne is in and out of the team. I'm looking at them thinking, what's going on? Like, what's going on with this Man City team? They're not playing to their best. And that's why I sat there and gone, look, I'm not sure if Arsenal are going to win the league. I don't know if we're good enough to win the league. But one thing tells me this, Man City aren't playing like a team that's going to win the league. But ever since they drew to Forest, something changed in that squad. I think that's when they realised that this can't continue. And ever since then, they've been on form. And look, maybe it's a trick for Pep Guardiola. Maybe he's hit the trick, because sometimes when they start the season on fire, as they've had to do against Liverpool, they burn out towards the end of the season. Suddenly they've got Real Madrid in 2 legs in the semi-final. They've got FA Cup games. They've got crunch time Premier League games. And they have to prioritise competitions. And Pep Guardiola ends up prioritising the Premier League. But now he's got to a point where, because the team has been kind of coasting for the majority of the season, they've got to February, March, and they've really kicked into gear. So they've really started to hit crunch time at the right moment, hit the momentum right when the doctor ordered for them. They've, of course, got the return leg against Real Madrid on Wednesday. Massive game as well. They've won today. The Premier League looks set for them to win. The FA Cup final against Man United as well. Everything's clicked into gear at the right time for Man City. And you have to commend them for that, man. They're a top team. They proved it. And it's exactly what they need to do, man. Big win for them. Okay, evening, everyone. I appreciate you on the stream as always. Mohammed, hope you're doing well. I think Brighton are gone, bro. Where's the thing? Brighton on the beach, right? Like, they can make Europe, but something tells me that team is ever since they drew to, lost on penalties to Man United in the FA Cup, the performance have been hit and miss. They win sometimes, they lose sometimes. Their confidence is here, their confidence is there. I'm hoping the Brighton doesn't turn up today. That's what I'm hoping. I hope it's the same Brighton that turned up against Everton. But who knows, man? Either way, Brighton got some tough fixtures coming up. They've still got to play Man City, still got to play Arsenal. Brighton got a big say in who wins this Premier League. Let's be completely honest about it. The problem about Brighton is, right, Brighton are a brilliant football team. They're a brilliant football team. So when I watch football teams, right, they're brilliant to watch, but football versus football against Man City, fire versus fire, it doesn't work because that's Man City's A game. That's what they're good at, man. You got to fight Man City with something different. You got to throw physicality if you can, even though nowadays it doesn't work with Haaland, Rodri, Stones, Laporte, Diaz, Akanji, like big units in that team. You can't really fight them with physicality anymore. You can't beat them at a football game because they've got the likes of Gundogan, Foden, De Bruyne, Mahrez that can pass you out the park, play you out the park with their trickery and skills. So how do you beat Man City? It's the million-dollar question. Like, I genuinely don't know. Let me know in the live chat if you know. How do you beat this Man City team? Because in prior years, I'd say, yeah, you just beat them for physicality. You defend well, you try and hit them on the counter-attack and try and get a set piece to win that football match. That's what I'd always say against Man City. But they're so balanced right now. Like, their team from back to front is so balanced. Defensively astute. Going forward, they're brilliant. They know how to put in challenges. Ball retention is great. They know how to grind out victories like against Leeds United and Fulham. Man City's overall game is brilliant. And honestly, if this was a team, if they played like this at the start of the season, they'd be better than the Centurion team. Genuinely, this is the best Man City team I've seen. It's the best Man City team I've seen. It's better than the Centurions. I'm saying it right now, man. This team is so good, bro. It's so balanced. And to put the icing on the cake, to put the cherry on the cake, they've got the X factor up front in Erling Haaland. When the game's tough, he will find a way to put the ball in the back of the net. When the game's tough, when it's 50-50, when it's, you know what I mean, it's a cagey game, he'll find a way to put the ball in the back of the net. And even if he doesn't, his atmosphere, his aura alone will attract so many defenders that he'll give Kevin De Bruyne time on the ball. Riyad Mahrez time to cook. So I don't know how to beat this Man City team. I've looked for a weakness. I haven't found one in 2 months. When I look at Arsenal, I see a clear weakness. Attack down the right because Zinchenko's weak defensively. When I look at Man City, what is their weakness? They don't possess it. And that's the most worrying thing for me. They're on course to get a treble, to get the treble. I think they'll win the Champions League. They look like they're going to win the Premier League. I think the FA Cup might be tough because despite the fact it's United will be fighting, knowing that they're going to have to be the team to stop City win the treble. The record they've held since 1999. So who knows, man? Who knows? But Man City have been brilliant. Man City are too strong at the moment for the title. Yeah, too strong, man. They've hit form at the perfect time. Pep Guardiola sat there and his whole season is questioning his team mentality. He's shipped up players like João Cancelo. But one thing he's really done, Pep Guardiola, is he's proven what a top manager is. What a top manager. Because a lot of these managers, right, they rarely throw their teams under the bus unless they want to leave the football club. Like, you've seen Conte do it. Jose Mourinho does it at times. Pep Guardiola can get away throwing his team under the bus because he lights a fire under them, man. He lights a fire under that team to get them going again. He saw the spark was gone for that team. He saw it's a team that was not necessarily physically drained, but mentally drained because it's tough. Genuinely, there's a reason Liverpool had a fall off this season, right? You could talk about it and say, oh, injuries this, injuries that. And I agree, but mental fatigue comes into it, right? When you've won every competition on planet Earth, like Liverpool done, it's hard to stay at the top of your game. It's like completing a video game and then trying to complete it again. Like, yeah, you're capable of doing so. You're proving you're good enough to complete it again, but do you have the same willingness? Do you have the same urge to win the same competitions you've won season in, season out? The mental fatigue and the mental stamina is one of the most underrated things in sports. And Pep Guardiola sensed his team lacked it. They did. But then he must have given them some kind of rocket. I don't know what he told them, what team talk, but ever since that Forest game, they've been a team possessed. And it looked like they found a newfound kind of dedication in the squad to win the treble. Maybe it is the fact that the treble is alive, is spurring them on to win it. Maybe if they were out the FA Cup, maybe if they were out the Champions League, we wouldn't see this form in the Premier League. Who knows, man? But something is galvanising this Man City squad. And Pep Guardiola's done a brilliant job to do that, man. He's a top manager and he's proved it again because what a brilliant job that man has done. They have to have an off day. Only way to beat them, even then you need luck. Exactly, Tommy. The only way Man City loses is if they beat themselves. That's what it seems like, man. Like, to beat Man City, a lot of things have to go your way. You have to play brilliantly. You have to defend brilliantly, attack brilliantly. You can't make any silly mistakes. And Man City have to have an off day. Like, it's got to a point where even if you put in a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 performance, if Man City put 10 out of 10 performance, they're still going to beat you. So you're going to need luck in it, man. You're going to need luck. And I've seen a stat that basically says since the Forest game, Man City haven't dropped any points, basically. Like, they have not dropped a single point since the Forest game. They have been that good, that flawless, where you just cannot stop them, man. Team tries, season, basically week in, week out, trying to get points from Man City, and it's not working because even West Ham, who kept them at bay for 50 minutes or so, didn't do enough, man. Didn't do enough. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I'm trying my best to see any sign of weakness with Man City, but I don't see it. I don't see it. Who knows, man? I find it annoying that they can't fill their stadium. The fans are a bit spoiled, man. Like, that team might win the treble. I said this the other day, right? If any of the other 19 Premier League teams were fighting for the title, one title, let alone a treble, that stadium would be filled 2 times over at least. 2 times over. Every stadium in England. But when it's Man City, their fans can't be asked, bro. Their fans can't be asked. Arsenal tickets for the game against Wolves were selling for 28,000. 27,000 on resale. Because everyone was they just wanted to watch that game. Like, the Emirates could have sold 200,000 tickets that day if Arsenal were going to win the title. With Man City, they struggle to sell 45, 50,000. It's crazy, man. Only winners for City is maybe in the air, but you can say that for most teams. Not anymore, Tommy. Genuinely not anymore. Like, Haaland's brilliant in the air. Ake got a goal to get them kickstarted against West Ham. Haaland scored to Davis' head. Diaz, you want to fight Diaz in the air? You want to fight Laporte, Akanji in the air? No chance, man. These are top in every facet of the match. Everton should have scored from corners today. Yeah, that was their best outlet. And look, Everton are good from corners. They're good from set pieces generally. So you're right. That would have been their best chance. And they had a chance. I remember Holgate had a chance he should have done better with, man. There was a chance with Dominic Calvert-Lewin potentially was through, but he had a heavy touch. So there were chances, man. But it's the way it goes in football, man. It's the way it goes. Bro, don't mind if you make this a short one. You're back after the Arsenal game. I'll try and be back after the Arsenal game. My uni's got me doing some dodgy little sightseeing expeditions, man. But I'll try and be back after the Arsenal game. But yeah, you're right. I'm going to start to lock off this stream shortly because the Arsenal game's about to start. But I appreciate joining everyone tuning in. As always, make sure you subscribe if you're new around here for football-related streams. I'll try and keep the content going despite, of course, the external factors around this with university. But yeah, I appreciate everyone joining the stream as always. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. 21 people watching right now. Also, drop a like down below so the stream goes out to more people in the algorithm. If you watch this when it stopped being a stream, it's now a video. Make sure you let me know in the comment section your thoughts as well. And if you're just joining, scroll back right to the start of the stream so you can hear all about my thoughts on the Everton 0 Man City 3 match reaction. I appreciate everyone tuning in as always. I'll try and do a stream after the Arsenal game if possible. I'm going to try as hard as I can. But if not, it's one of those things. Champions League streams I'll try as well. This week is just dodgy, man. Like all the university stuff around it. We're on a field trip right now, so it's just very, very dodgy. But I'm going to try my absolute best. Quick prediction for the Arsenal game. 2-1 Arsenal. That's my prediction. 2-1 Arsenal. You're going 2-1 Arsenal as well? There we go. I appreciate everyone joining as always. Hope to see you all in my next one. I've been My Football. Take care.